It's time to introduce you to the ultimate breakfast sandwich. I got inspired to make this after a visit to LA's Egg Slut. So essentially this is the slut of the breakfast sandwiches. It is delicious and it doesn't take too many ingredients. We're going to start off by making a chipotle mayonnaise. I have some Tabasco and a little bit of mayo, and this is one of the simplest little sauces that goes great with a breakfast sandwich like this. About 1.5 teaspoons of Tabasco going in here. Give it a little bit of a mix through. So now that we have our mayo sorted, it's time to talk about our turkey patties. We've got some ground turkey or some turkey mince. We're gonna add a few teaspoons of fennel seeds. They give a lovely aniseed flavor. We've also got some garlic going in here. I'm gonna season it up with some sea salt and some black pepper. And that is pretty much it. And now it's time to just get your hand in there and give it all a good mix up. You're probably gonna get about 2 patties from this mixture. This is nicely mixed through. Break it in 2 and we're going to make up our nice little patties. So using the palm of your hand and your fingers, just form these into nice solid little patties. And you do want them quite thin, you don't want them big thick burger shapes. Remember, when these go into the pan, they're going to shrink a little bit, so you can make them a little bit wider than you think you're going to need them to be. So that should do me, and exactly the same with the other one. Okay, that's my second patty done. I'm going to give the hands a quick wash. Right, hands washed, nice hot pan. Get in there with some oil. Just any old neutral oil will do here. You need about 1 tablespoon going in. I'm going to grab up my burgers with a little fish slice like this, get them straight in there and frying off. They're gonna need about 3 to 4 minutes either side, just until they'll nicely cook through and they have a lovely color on the outside. Once your turkey patties are nicely cooked through and you've got a good color on the outside, we're going to finish it off with some slices of some cheddar cheese. Now, I did say this is indulgent brunch, but stick with me, this is all going to be delicious. So some nice heavy slices of cheddar cheese. Little trick that works with burgers just as well as it does with these patties is a splash of water in the pan, a little bit of steam going on in there, lid on, and that's going to fry off just until the cheese is nice and melted. And while it's frying off, we're going to get on with our fried eggs, because this is kind of the only thing that makes this a breakfast sandwich. So we do need a fried egg. A little bit of oil in a hot pan, just a bit of sunflower oil will do. Now we're going to fry these off just until the whites are no longer translucent and you've got nice runny eggs. We have some serious fried egg action, and now the big reveal: cheesy turkey patties. I nearly couldn't say the words, I was so excited. So we're going to serve these up on our brioche buns. I have my lovely chipotle mayo. Give that a good dollop. So we're going to go straight on with one of these lovely turkey patties. Make sure you get all that lovely stringy cheese. Get our egg on top. Am I missing anything? No, the eggs and then the scallions. This is going to be good. Egg straight on top of that. Oh yes. A little bit of scallion action. I've put these in a bowl with iced water and just slice them up nice and thinly, and you get these lovely little curls of scallion on top. A little dash of Tabasco because I love my heat, and that is a serious breakfast sandwich that we're just going to have to cut into. Oh yes, look at that. Mmm. Eggs Benedict is an absolute classic brunch recipe, and it is comprised of toasted English muffins, beautiful sharp and buttery hollandaise sauce, and creamy poached eggs, and a little bit of savory ham as well. It is simple to make, but you need to take time and concentrate. I have 2 eggs in a large heat-proof bowl. Give them a good whisk up, and we're going to stick these over a pan of simmering water. So as this simmers away and starts to heat up, we're going to add 1 or 2 knobs of butter, and slowly but surely this is going to melt into our sauce. Right, we're going to add more butter in, and you kind of have to keep doing it and keep going, and you'll notice that the sauce starts to thicken up under the heat or over the heat. And it's just a case of adding more and more butter until you have a nice voluptuous sauce. So I'm adding my final little bit of butter in here, and once that's melted down, we have a fantastic hollandaise sauce that just needs a kick of flavor from some lemon juice and some sea salt. I'm going to take it off the heat at this point. Give this a last whisk through, and you can see how beautiful and yellow that hollandaise sauce is. It just needs to be hit with a tiny touch of lemon juice. Give that lemon a little bit of a roll on the board and a quick squeeze. It only needs about a teaspoon of lemon juice, and if you're doing this, squeezing it straight in, do it through your hands so you get any of those pips left. Okay, that should do me. Little hit of some sea salt in here will make all the difference in terms of flavor. You could add a bit of black pepper in there, but I don't think the purists would be too happy. Give it a last little whisk through. It should maintain that thickness even when you add the lemon juice, and that, my friends, is a very delicious and simple hollandaise sauce. Set this aside. We now need to talk about our poaching liquid for our eggs. I have this come to a rolling simmer, and you don't want it to be a really hard boil. You want it to be a nice steady simmer. Keep it on a low temperature. We're adding a tablespoon of white wine vinegar. Now, the theory is that a tablespoon of white wine vinegar and the pinch of salt I'm going to add now will make all the difference to bringing your poached eggs together. The method I use is slightly different because normally everyone goes in there and swirls it around. I'm just swirling it very gently to dissolve the salt. But I don't actually swirl my water. I just pop my egg in very gently because poached eggs are something that not everyone gets right. So this is my little trick, and it's the way I always make my poached eggs. It's always a very simple one, and even if you've never poached an egg before, this method, I hope I can guarantee, will work for you. So, in a little cup, bring your cup right to the edge of the water and just drop it on in. Okay, my egg has had its time, and there is a tendency when they come out of the water that they look a little bit miserable. So if you have these little extra bits that are around the sides, just use a butter knife and chop it off so you have a nice edge to your lovely poached egg. Fantastic. Got my poached eggs, got my hollandaise, and now it's time to assemble. I have some toasted English muffins, and we're gonna just assemble these up with a little bit of ham on the bottom here. I've got nice thinly sliced pieces of ham, and they really do add a lovely savory kick, so I always use ham. But you can do it with smoked salmon. You can add a little bit of cooked spinach in here, is quite nice as well. So really this is a recipe you can adapt to your own liking, but this is more of the classic way of serving it. So we've got our nice little bit of ham, and now it's time for our fantastic poached eggs. Straight on top with your poached eggs, beautifully poached so that you have that runny yolk and nicely set egg white. Just lift them very gently on top. And what brings together this whole dish is that wonderful hollandaise sauce. So let's give it a last little whisk through just so that it is nice and ready. I'm gonna lose my whisk. Take a big spoon, or a small spoon in this case, and just spread that over the top. Look at that. Fantastic flavors, really sharp hollandaise sauce, and when you dive through that egg yolk, you are in business. The only thing this needs now is a little fresh hit of some chives over the top. I'm just gonna give them a quick snip with the scissors. I'm kind of going a little bit creative here now, but I quite like that. Just a nice little snip gives you all that wonderful sort of onion flavor. And you could give it a final touch of some black pepper, and then that, my friends, is a serious breakfast and a half. I'm gonna give it that little crack of black pepper. The last thing to do now is slice right through that so you get really nice yolk pouring. I'm going to get you to come in and have a look at this. Oh, yes. This is what your Egg Benedict is all about. Dripping egg yolk, wonderful hollandaise sauce, and that savory ham. Just give me a minute. Hi guys, today we are going to show you a beautiful little recipe, a Nutella stuffed brioche French toast with a berry sauce. And as you can probably tell, I'm not in my kitchen, I'm joined by the fantastic Ben, and I'm in his kitchen.
This sounds too good to be true.
I know.
This is indulgence at its best.
I say it's a breakfast, but it's really way
more like a dessert.
It's totally much more like a dessert, but it's really delicious and it's incredibly easy to make, and we're going to show you how. We have some brioche, we have some Nutella, we have some berries for our sauce. So actually we'll start off by making a sauce with them. So we put them into a little saucepan, and in with our berries. Oh, we've lost one.
Throw one on the floor.
Throw one up on the floor. It's fine. I'm not doing the cleanup.
Not your kitchen.
So sugar goes in on top, just about 2 tablespoons of sugar going in there. Oh, and I've got an extra blackberry over here. And then we're gonna put in a few tablespoons of water in there. We've got our brioche, which is going to form the basis of this French toast.
Which is sweet bread.
Yes.
Amazing. The French know what they're doing when it comes to sweet bread.
They
Enriched
surely-
doughs.
Yes, yes. We're gonna basically slice up nice big chunky squares.
Now this is a recipe you've done time and time again, isn't it? Because
Yes.
you did this live.
Yes, I did. I actually did this on. I did this kind of theatre tour last year, and some people who came to it will have seen me make this recipe because I made it every single night for about 23 nights.
That's how good it is.
That's how good it is. Though actually, it was funny because like it was one of the first recipes I did during the show, and it always disappeared by the end of the time.
Just
I come
leave it
off
on the
stage.
side.
Yeah, it was so strange, but so I don't know where it went, but it went somewhere. So look, we've got some lovely slices of our brioche, and what we want to do with French toast, if you had stale brioche, it's even better because it soaks up this lovely liquid we're going to make with it. But we're going to start off. You could make it French toast just the way it is, but we're going to like pump up the extra
Why not?
calorie value.
This is super breakfast. Breakfast on steroids.
Exactly, and this is for all the Weight Watchers out there who love to
Well,
make very simple things.
Subtle, but thanks. You noticed.
I wasn't going to say anything. So just a very small amount of Nutella that goes on top, and just smear it. And if you didn't have Nutella or a chocolate hazelnut spread, what you could do is just put a few slices of squares of dark chocolate in there, and they will melt down. So it works just as well.
I imagine this is, because you're into your food photography, aren't you?
Yeah.
So this is one of those dishes that everyone's going to look at and just go, want it.
Yeah, it totally is, and I also feel a little bit bad that I've come all the way to London to smear chocolate onto brioche and fry it.
Simple food. That's the way all food should be.
I know. So we're going to sandwich these together, and Ben, maybe you crack a few eggs in there for
We
me.
could just stop there. I'd be happy with those.
I think Nutella sandwiches, that's all we need. Fantastic. But what we're going to do, we're going to up the ante. We're going to make it even more exciting. We've got 2 lovely large free-range eggs in here, and we're going to whisk this up so that we kind of have a lovely... He's already on it. Jeez, you are such a pro.
I'm just doing it as I'm told.
It's the jacket.
I feel like
it's definitely the jacket.
I feel like I've overdressed.
So we've got what we need to do now is make the liquid which is going to soak up into our brioche French toast. So we've got 2 eggs. We're going to add in a little bit of milk. For extra flavour, we're going to add a drop of vanilla extract. So we've got a lovely little liquid mixture, and this basic mixture now, you could put cinnamon in there, a little bit of ground cardamom. What else could we put in there?
Spice and chocolate's always orange zest as well.
Yeah.
Like bread and butter pudding with this and orange zest. Amazing.
Yeah, very, very nice. We get these in here, and as I said, if you have stale brioche, it works great because it soaks up even more. But we're going to leave them to kind of sit there for a second, and I'm going to flip them over. And in the meantime, let's get some butter into that pan, and we're going to allow that to kind of bubble away. And of course, what else would you fry? Brioche French toast stuffed with Nutella and covered in berries.
It's got to be butter.
It has to be butter. It has
Irish
to be
butter. I did you a favour. I've got some.
Did you get Irish
butter?
Oh,
just make you feel at
good on
home.
them. I feel so at home now. Okay, so we're going to flip this over, and we're going to get these nicely soaked up, and they're looking pretty good now. So we want to get that nice and bubbling. Let's check on our lovely sauce, which is coming together very nicely. And you just want to keep bubbling that sauce down until it's the kind of berries have loosened up and they've become a little bit soft, I suppose. Popped, yes. Butter is nicely melted. It does need to be nice and hot, so you get a good kind of golden caramelization on the outside. So look, get that straight into that beautiful bubbling butter.
So is this something you treat yourself to at a weekend?
This
is not your everyday breakfast,
It's
is
not
it?
my everyday breakfast, but I can tell you, if you make this for your partner, a loving partner, you make this for breakfast for them, and they will treat you well the whole weekend. I
Morning
promise
after
you.
the night before. This is.
Oh yeah. So now, all we need to do is let that fry on and be nice and golden on both sides, and we're going to serve it up with our lovely sauce.
It's a couple of minutes.
Yeah, 2 or 3 minutes on either side. Done. Shall we have a flip?
Give them a flip. If you could smell this in here now.
Oh.
Rich, buttery, golden.
And look at that. I mean, buttery, bubbling beautifulness.
It smells so rich over here, and then you come to these, and these are just you've kind of mushed them a little bit.
Yes. But actually, you get that wonderful tartness because it's
citric.
so sweet, and then you get this wonderful kind of tartness around it. So we're going to give them another minute or 2 on this side, and then we're just going to serve them up. Okay. Our brioche French toast is beautifully browned up, really, really tasty looking. So we're going to serve it up. I'm going to put it onto the chopping board first, and we're going to have a little check out what the inside looks like. So just serve them out like this.
This is a texture thing as well, isn't it? Because you got crispy bits
Yeah.
on the top, and there's that gooey, spongy amazingness inside.
Just cut that across, and this is the real moment of magic. Have a look at this.
Oh, hot chocolate.
Proper hot chocolate. Really, really delicious. So I'm going to just serve these up onto a plate. So take your lovely little quarters like this and kind of just
angle them around, make them look a little bit pretty. They're quite hot, but that's okay. Ow. And then
This is what I love about your food.
What?
The photography, the styling, everything in your cookbooks and feast looks amazing. And look
Thank
at
you
that.
very much.
Look at that.
So just give it a good drizzle over the top. And the great thing about this sauce is that you get those lovely little bit of kind of lumpage going on.
Lumpage.
I love a bit of lumpage. What we're going to do is finish it off with a lovely little dusting of icing sugar. I have a sieve down here.
Brilliant.
So just a little sprinkle of that icing sugar over the top. And hey, look at that. Are you convinced? Are you convinced?
Quite magical. That's one hell of a breakfast.
I think we have to tuck in.
I don't know where to start. It's just a tower of
It's a tower of
awesomeness.
deliciousness.
Absolute awesome. Oh, look
I'm
at
going
that.
this side. Ah, I didn't get much Nutella. Hang on.
Chocolate, berries, a bit of everything.
Nice.
I mean, I don't think they need us to tell how good that is. You can see how good it is.
It is so good.
Breakfast burritos, my friends, one of my favorite breakfasts, and it's a brilliant breakfast that you can take on the go. So, we're gonna start off with the core ingredients. We've got some parboiled potatoes, some chorizo, and a little bit of bacon. So, pan on, and then we're gonna start off with the chorizo. We're gonna fry this until it gets a nice kind of golden sizzling color, and then we'll go in with our bacon, and we'll have nice crispiness. Okay, this is looking pretty good. I actually don't want too much color on my chorizo. I just want it to still be nice and tender. So we're going to transfer this out onto our plate. Don't be afraid of leaving some of those lovely chorizo oils in the pan because they're going to add lovely flavor when it comes to adding our eggs in here. We're going straight in there with the bacon, and it's going to get coated in all those lovely chorizo oils. It's also going to add its own salty flavor to the pan, and then it's time for our lovely potatoes. Bacon is looking good. We're gonna get rid of that straight onto our chorizo, and into that pan, which still has quite a bit of the oil, I'm adding some parboiled potatoes. The trick with these potatoes is to make sure that you use waxy ones rather than floury ones because they'll hold their shape better. I'm looking for a nice crispy edge to my potatoes, and to them I'm gonna add a sprinkle of smoked paprika, which essentially is gonna give you the same sort of flavor that's going on in the chorizo. It also adds a nice bit of color in there. Give it a quick stir. You're looking for them to be nice and crispy. Now, while these are frying off, we're gonna crack on with some pico de gallo, which is essentially a Mexican salsa, and it comprises of some chopped tomatoes. I'm adding in some finely chopped white onion, a little bit of chili for a bit of heat, and to this, we're gonna bring it together with some coriander or cilantro and a little bit of lime juice. Now, to get the best out of your limes, if you have a really stiff lime, give it a roll on the board like this, and it loosens all the juice. Slice it up, and you have a juicy, Lucy lime. Squeeze it in there, get all that flavor going on, and then you cannot do this without a bit of cilantro or coriander. It is one of my favorite herbs and it's an essential Mexican herb. You've got to get it in there. So, good handful of that being picked up here. Just tear that off and give it a rough chop with a knife. And you have instant pico de gallo. I'm gonna season it up with a tiny pinch of salt. And I'm also going to give it a nice extra kick. I know there's chili in there already, but I love the smoky flavor from some chipotle Tabasco. So, little dash of that going in. Okay, we've got our pico de gallo, we've got our bacon, we've got our chorizo, we've got our potatoes, which are crisping up beautifully. And now it's time for our eggs. So I've got 4 eggs, just lightly whisking it in a bowl and into a hot pan with just a touch of oil. I'm gonna scramble this up, let it set a little bit on the bottom and then start pulling that in and around. Always make your scrambled eggs in a non-stick pan, it'll make your life much easier. And as you can see, in a matter of moments, my scrambled eggs are now done. Take them off the heat as soon as you can, you don't want them to overcook. Assembling the burrito is up to you and you can do it whatever way you want, but I'm gonna wrap mine up so I have closed ends at either side, which means that you have a burrito that's good to take on the go. Now, I'm also heating up a griddle pan, so we're just gonna give some nice char marks once this is assembled. But now, we gotta go in there with some of our potatoes, some of our bacon, and some of our chorizo. Oh, and I nearly forgot. We're going in there with some avocado too. First, with some of this lovely salty bacony potato mixture. So, straight across the base here. Now, the trick with this is not to overfill your burrito because otherwise it makes your life a little bit harder when it comes to wrapping it up. So, a little bit of the filling. Just pile it on up. We're gonna grab some of our eggs and then grab up a little bit of cheese. I've got some cheddar cheese here, but you can use whatever cheese you like. And this goes wonderfully stringy and melted once you get this onto the pan. So a little bit of that. And then for a little fresh maker along the side, I've got some of this lovely pico de gallo. So just grab a tiny bit of avocado. I'm just taking little chunks of it and putting it in and around this fantastic burrito. And now comes the tricky part. We're going to try and roll this up with either side. So take your time with it and then just pull it together. Might be a few little bits that fall out, but don't worry about it. Just get them out of the way. Okay, once it's neatly parceled up, get it straight onto that smoking griddle pan. And you want to take a fish slice or a spatula like this and just press it down. You're looking for deep char marks and for all that cheese in there to be beautiful and melted. My friends, we are in business. Look at those beautiful char marks. And once it's nice and hot like this, it's time to slice it open and see what we're looking at. Straight down the middle, and this is what it's all about. Beautiful interior, avocado, potatoes, eggs. This is your ultimate breakfast burrito. And now I gotta see how it tastes. Oh yeah. You've got the spiciness of that chorizo sausage, the freshness of the pico de gallo, and then beautifully cooked eggs. This is proper breakfast food on the go. I hope that you'll give it a go. If you want the full recipe, you can check it out in the link below over on my website. Make sure to like, subscribe to this channel, and of course, leave me a comment letting me know if you'll try this fantastic breakfast burrito. Until then, my friends, see you soon.